Punk Revolution now. Today we are going to be reviewing Taylor Swift's newest album, Midnights. Highly anticipated Taylor Swift album. And I would like to start the review by reading some lyrics off her song, Anti-Hero. This is one of the singles off of her album, just to get the review started. So this is from Taylor Swift's new album. Sometimes I feel like everybody is a sexy baby, and I'm a monster on the hill. Too big to hang out, slowly lurching towards your favorite city. Did you hear my covert narcissism lightly disguised as altruism? Like some kind of congressman, I wake up screaming from dreaming. One day I'll watch as you're leaving, and life will lose all its meaning. I have this dream. My daughter-in-law kills me for the money. She thinks I left them in the will. The family gathers around and reads it, and someone screams out, "She's laughing up at us from hell." Was that some sort of Halloween fairy tale written for 6-year-olds? Or was that Taylor Swift's idea of what opening up and being emotional and vulnerable is supposed to be? Or was that some like first grader classroom where the teacher was teaching kids about rhymes are and how rhymes work? Because that's how absolutely elementary the lyrics were. Hi class, today we're going to be learning what rhymes are. Do you know what rhymes are when two words kind of sound alike? Because people should not be left to their own devices, because that comes with prices and vices, and I end up in crisis, and I realized that I wake up screaming and you're leaving and I'm scheming for the last time. That to me literally feels like you just asked a 10-year-old to come with this whatever rhymes they can off the top of their head. It's just humiliating and embarrassing that this is supposed to be Taylor Swift's idea of like darkness. Oh God. Believe me folks, as embarrassing as that is that's the single, the lead single of this album. The lyrics are not even the worst part of the album. This is Taylor Swift's Midnights, her most recent album, her absolute worst album to date. Yes, somehow worse than Reputation, worse than Folklore, worse than Lovers somehow. All right, let's just start by taking a look at the album cover. You know what else reminds me of first grade? Is not only learning how to put basic rhymes together to tell a story about being a monster when everyone else is a sexy baby. The other thing that reminds me of first grade is thinking that when you are having an emotional moment and you want to kind of show the world that you're like in a dark place or whatever, that you take a lighter and go like, ooh, the lighter is like Joker feeling emotion. It's sad at midnight and I'm looking at a lighter. Why is Taylor Swift has revealed over and over and over again that there is nothing there besides cliches. Folklore, okay, she saw a profitable opportunity to enter the market of indie folk, a genre that has been beaten to death for the past 20 years. I think it's a great genre. Taylor Swift, a huge pop star, knows there's a huge market out there of people who are just oblivious to the genre because they only listen to pop. She says, this is my opportunity to exploit that market. She releases a very mediocre folk pop, indie folk album. Gets a lot of streams, a lot of listens. Good for her. Now it's her turn to see what other markets can I exploit. Maybe I can do like kind of like a dark synth pop kind of album that feels like I'm driving through the night at midnight, listening to kind of retro 70s, 80s kind of synth poppy kind of music, even though we've had plenty of artists and pop stars already do that. That's how Taylor Swift works. Someone comes into Taylor Swift with a memo. So here's the things that are popular on the charts right now. We think if you kind of make your music go in this direction, maybe you can make some money here. And, I guess we'll also hire Jack Antonoff because, clearly we're not interested in doing anything creative here. We just want to play it safe to make as much money as possible. And Jack Antonoff is the go-to guy when you want to do that. And this is how Taylor Swift has been operating for a long time now. I mean, her creativity is so at the rock bottom. She has gotten so transparent with her money-grabbing schemes that she's literally just re-releasing music she's already released a long time ago. Some of her actually good material, she's just re-releasing it so she can skirt under her record label contracts and make more money. Somehow she's able to frame this very shitty kind of shallow money grab scheme thing as somehow a justice thing. That's how she operates. She even addresses it in some of the music in this song, in this album, as if addressing that she's a shitty person somehow makes her better. I don't know. Anyways, point is, somehow, even though she's following the same formula as she always does, somehow she blows it big time here. She blows it big time because she put all she's very formulaic. She puts the formula together, and maybe because she's been so used to getting praise for every little thing she does. I swear to God, music critics were literally praising this album Midnight because it had 13 songs. Before it was even released, this album was getting praise for having 13 songs because 13 is Taylor Swift's favorite number. It's her lucky number. Oh my God, whose favorite number is 13? That's so unheard of. What a rare lucky number. And oh my God, how many albums out there have 13 songs? So original and so unique for Taylor Swift to have 13 songs. Let's give this album a 5 out of 5. She's been getting praise her whole freaking life because she is the employer of so many people. Record labels at this point are very dependent on like their big cash cows to just continue to make money, as much money as possible off of. Taylor Swift's entire empire is literally employing so many people. They are dependent on making sure these songs get a lot of streams, which they always do. And they are dependent on making sure it gets a lot of good reviews, which they always do. It's all, everybody here is connected to each other somehow. Taylor Swift has gotten nonstop praise for the work of other people, all right? The music industry right now is doing terribly. The pandemic has totally cut off a huge source of revenue for the music industry, which is touring. And including Taylor Swift has not been touring very much lately. Clearly, there is some institutional problems going on in the music industry because this is the album they popped out, and it is horrible. It sounds incomplete. The lyrics are horrendous. There's not a single memorable melody. I am shocked because not only from a musical artistic standpoint is this album completely empty, which is how Taylor Swift's music has been for the past decade, but even from the music industry perspective of we need good melodies. We need these songs to sound polished and they're gonna appeal to some market out there so we can make money. Even in that aspect, this album completely fails. And you have no choice but to see just so transparently right through Taylor Swift's bullshit. The only explanation for how this album is so bad is that Taylor Swift has no talent. That's the only explanation. That's the only, because you do not, as a creative human being, you do not release albums that are this bad, it doesn't sound done. It sounds like, okay, yes, all our music at this point has been just a collection of cliches, but at this point you put on the first song and it's like, what is this cheesy freaking R&B weird ass synth pop thing she's doing? It's like, I've heard all this before. You're doing the same thing. It's just with a worse melody and horrendous lyrics. And that's like how every song is like, it's actually boring. And Lover was also boring. Lots of her music at this point is boring. But this is actually like painfully boring. Like you're listening, like trying to like please let this be over. But you can't even tune out of it because there's like a lot of cringe, like sprinkled, like, oh my, ew, it's so like, ew, is this her idea of being like dark and deep and emotional? Like clearly she's not actually feeling sad. There's no sadness inside of her. This is just like what a rich, famous Republican's idea of being sad is. That's what's going on in this album. It's so empty. It's clearly someone who's not sad at all, who's making an album about being sad. Because she's tapped into every market, now she's gotta go into the sadness market. That's what's going on, and she's really bad at it. Not even Jack Antonoff is able to save it, because he sucks. Jack Antonoff always makes average music. Everything Jack Antonoff touches always is average. This is the first time he's ever worked on something that wasn't average. The production is terrible. This is not his genre. This is not his forte. Jack Antonoff is some nerdy white guy who shouldn't be making, like, soul, R&B, synth pop. It just shouldn't happen. Because then you end up with this garbage. Taylor Swift shouldn't be putting these horrible lyrics over music that sounds like this. It's just so many layers of diarrhea. It's just diarrhea. And Taylor Swift, I think there's gotta be a part of her that knows deep down that this is crap. Because she keeps cursing. And look, I don't mind curse words, okay? Obviously, I listen to punk music, lots of cuss words. But to me, it feels like the music is so bad, and Taylor Swift is not capable of, like, articulating like intellectually or creatively to show any actual genuine feelings and emotions of frustration and depression and angst. So she's just dropping cuss words like a lot more than average throughout this album. I think as a distraction because Taylor Swift fans are so creatively shallow that like her saying fuck or shit is like, oh, she said shit, yay! That's how bad this album is that like, if I'm trying to think of what redeemable factors are there, she said like cuss words once in a while, and that helped me take my mind off how bad the music was once in a while. Maybe I'm a little too optimistic here, but I think even the diehard Taylor Swift fans are gonna have to listen and acknowledge this is horrendous. It is so bad on every single level. Who is this album for? Like, it's a really bad, like, artsy pop album. And there's nothing artistic about it. Because it's literally like you hire a construction company, build a building over there, and they just kind of like pour a bunch of cement down. Like, okay, that's good. That's what this album is. I think even hardcore Taylor Swift fans are going to acknowledge that. So I would like to ask, if you are a Taylor Swift fan watching, could you please do me a favor? Please, in the comments here or wherever, just please apologize. Because Taylor Swift fans have been relentlessly, ruthlessly bullying me and many, many people forever. You dare slightly criticize Taylor Swift's questionable ethics and bad songwriting, all of a sudden you get a huge wave of Taylor Swift fans who literally harass and bully you. Now, it's very transparent. Taylor Swift is not someone who is immune from making bad music, from screwing up. This album, Midnights, is a screw-up. It has permanently damaged her career. For the rest of her legacy, has been permanently damaged by Midnights, because there is no denying that there is something missing in Taylor Swift's creative brain, like the parts of your brain that are supposed to be creative. Something is not there for Taylor Swift to release this. Her entire legacy is permanently scarred. And I've been saying this for a long time. You know, it's already been, her legacy has been already scarred pretty horrendously by a lot of bad albums and re-recording her best stuff. Now at this point, it's irredeemably damaged. So I would like Taylor Swift fans to apologize to me and everybody else who has been bullied because we dare to give the lightest amount of criticism. Here's a light I'm being easy on this album, by the way. That's how bad it is. I'm being easy on it. Actually, I do encourage, even though I've trashed it, I encourage you to listen to it because I want everyone watching to listen and take notes and learn. This is what you do not do when making music, okay? If I were teaching a music class, I would force every kid to listen to this album and take notes because they need to know this is, do the opposite of Taylor Swift Midnights. Do the opposite. Production's terrible, lyrics are terrible, every single aspect of it is bad, so do the opposite of Taylor Swift Midnights and you'll have a good album. Taylor Swift fans, you hurt me on Twitter, and all the music critics who are giving this any sort of positive reception because it includes 13 songs, I want you to look yourself in the mirror and say, what am I doing? Why is it that the music industry is dying? Why are more people streaming older songs now than newer songs? What could it be? Well, I think this is a good example. Taylor Swift's Midnights, I think, hopefully will be a wake-up call where we all can sit down and say, wow, we all played a little role in making this horrible thing happen. Shame on us. I think this album is so bad, it's gonna face the very worst fate any album could face, which is, I think in a week, no one is going to be talking about it anymore because it's extremely unmemorable and Taylor Swift fans are going to want to pretend it didn't happen. But then there's people like me who saw it happen, and we know the truth now about Taylor Swift. So that's my review of Midnights by Taylor Swift. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Shout out to Taylor Swift for giving me a little bit of PTSD with this album. Punk Revolution now.